Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday and welcome to Power Talk. I am just thrilled and honored that you've chosen to join me again this week. And I've got a great guest for you today, as well as information about a great movie. So my guest today is from England. And her name, well, actually, she's from all over the world. she's a world woman, but her name is Rashmi Khilnani. She's an internationally known healer, teacher, lecturer, author, artist, and TV personality. She's at the forefront of bringing ancient mystery school teachings from Egypt, India, Tibet, and China out into the world, as well as something that's close to my heart, which is the teachings of the Essenes. And she brings them current because she's a channel. She channels ascended masters. She's got some great books. Here you go, where she has channeled Buddha, the Divine Mother, and Shiva. So I highly recommend her books, but that's not what we're here to talk about today, although we probably will. She has a brand new movie out. The movie is called I, God. And what she has done, it's a documentary, and she has interviewed people from all major religious traditions about what they think about God, as well as she's interviewed people on the streets, to get the general populace to say who they think God is, do they believe in God? And so welcome, Rashmi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Well, you're very welcome.
From London, where it's been stormy, but it's better now.
Well, it's been stormy here in Tallahassee, Florida, too. We've got a cold front coming through, and I think we're finally, fingers crossed, going to have a bit of fall. So I'm hoping
which part of the States did you say you're in?
In Florida, but northern Florida.
All right, okay.
So it's like South Georgia.
Cool. Yeah, I used to live in Charlottesville, as you know, with
right.
very close to Sarah, my publicist, and Bob Friedman, my publisher and co-producer of I, God.
Well, and it's such a small world, and I didn't put two and two together. I get a lot of people from Sarah, your publicist, that I've had on the show, but I didn't realize that Bob was the co-producer of your show. He's also my publisher. So it's a very small world.
So we're part of the family.
Yes, exactly. So how did you get on this wonderful journey?
Oh my God, which one? Which journey? There's been a million in this lifetime. I'm a cosmic intergalactic being.
Join the club.
Yeah, I'm with you. Exactly. So it's like, multiple timelines, lifetimes, all converging for this amazing wake-up time now. And so years ago, I was a teacher of Reiki Masters. I'm one of the top teachers of Reiki energy mastery in the world, which means not just the Usui and the Tibetan, but going on to Rakuke mastery, which is shamanic Reiki mastery, and onto 3 systems of Egyptian Reiki mastery, Sekam, which is the power of powers, which makes the energy immediate, and it's much more, from source down through to the center of the earth, back up through the hands, and the healing, holding is immediate, beyond time and space. And 2 other systems, and it's the original 7-degree Reiki energy mastery. So people think there's just Tibetan and Usui, but then you can go on to becoming a PhD of energy mastery, because it encompasses the mystery school teachings and the wisdom teachings of all time, including Egypt, Tibet, China, India, and wisdom, eternal wisdom. So that's how it all started in part of the story. It actually went back to the Great Pyramid of Giza and my childhood in Egypt, Cairo, in this lifetime. And I was talking to the goddess Hathor as a child. So she is the goddess I've channeled in The Divine Mother Speaks, the healing of the human heart, for this ascension period, this wake-up time, and for Reiki Energy Mastery Made Simple for all to be able to read it through the book, and those that wish to ascend now and come into quantum being and becoming.
Well, I really resonated with your books and your movie as well, because Hathor has been walking by my side for as long as I can remember.
Wow.
I didn't wake up to it until about maybe 25 years ago.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, there are not that many Hathor channels on the planet. Now, as we know, the Hathor beings are 13-dimensional beings. They are over 13 foot tall, and very similar to the ones in the film Avatar, the Avatar.
Right, exactly.
They have big ears, and they are sound masters. So the greatest secret on the planet now is sound. And I work also with inaudible sound. It's called advanced sound wave energy therapy. It works on the electromagnetic field. We are electromagnetic fields of energy. And, you know, they gave language to the planet through Thoth, the Netta Thoth of ancient Egypt. And also they gave all types of sound, including Mongolian overtone chanting and all sacred sound to the planet. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, and I can't really necessarily call myself a Hathor channel. She's been speaking to me forever, but I don't always understand.
You are, believe me.
Well, yeah. But I don't always understand it. It sounds like dolphins, and I hear it in my left ear, and it sounds like dolphin chatter and dolphin frequency.
Because the dolphin are advanced beings, and they work so much with sonic sound, audible and inaudible sound, as do the whales. And they are Syrian beings, and the goddess Hathor is a Syrian goddess. She's also a Venusian goddess, because the Hathors then came to Venus. And this is all multidimensional and beyond linear understanding. And she is the goddess of the sky, of fertility, of tantra, of beauty, harmony, and of the divine feminine rising now in the hearts of men and women.
Yeah, and the holder, I'm being told, the holder of the light, the golden light disc that awakens the pineal gland.
Yeah, and she wears the sun and the moon in her headdress, which is the coming together of divine male and female energies within us and in the cosmos. And my name is Rashmi, which in Sanskrit means moonlight and sunlight. It means the light. And what is light? Light is information. Yeah. So I was born at this time and conceived in Egypt, and then born to Indian parents. And all this was done for reasons to bring high frequency of the heart on the planet. I consider myself in the I part of it. I'm basically nothing. But the I part to be a channel for humanity now of very high frequency of heart energy. And in fact, now the time is coming in the very current time of the now moment for us to have fifth dimensional relationships within us and outside of us, of the divine masculine and feminine, and to bring the Hathor Pata, being totally human and divine in bodies here now and avataric in nature, and having those type of relationships that are not just about sex and love and romance as we know it in 3D reality, but it's a much higher order. And I think I'm part of the pioneering aspect of these frequencies for this planet.
Fantastic. So whatever possessed you to create this movie?
Well, I've been working for the Ascended Masters, and particularly Christ Yogi Mahavatar Babaji. He's the same as the one mentioned in Autobiography of a Yogi, which is a Bible, a handbook for spiritual seekers by Yogananda. He's the guru of gurus. He's the Ascended Master who's here to take 7 billion into unity consciousness, Christ consciousness. And he is an aspect of Lord Shiva, and he is Maha-avataric, which means he manifests and demanifests in one or several bodies at the same time. There's a lot to cover in one TV show, but that's why I'm speaking quite fast, because I think the people that will listen to this show require now to begin to fire their encodings of their DNA from 2 to 12 helix, so that they become pioneers and shepherds now to help in the wake up through the 12 monkey syndrome for all humans on the planet within free will and the higher good, the principles of Reiki. So yeah, once Babaji re-entered my life in this lifetime, and that was transcendentally in my studio, I said, step it up and I'll go to 0, because this numerologist who knew him said you would. And I brought everything to 0, but I didn't know it would be my health as well. I said, give me total acceleration. Let's get going if I'm not already where I'm meant to be. And then I got breast cancer 2 months after that, which I was not going to get. but I did. And because I used to help transmute people with cancer, and I was a major healer and a teacher of shepherds for the planet. And so then he asked me to take on the allopathic route, including being cut twice over 2 weeks, and tamoxifen and chemotherapy and radio therapy for 6.5 weeks, which as a holistic teacher and a talented healer, quote unquote, people heal themselves. I'm just a channel and a mirror. That was a huge humility on my part. But it was to show that this is what we've done to Mother Earth. We have chemicalized her, we have cut her, we have, messed with her hormonal situations, we have radiated her, and that I, as a channel of the Divine Mother frequencies, will go through this through my body and then show transmutation. Barely had I recovered from such intensive treatments, taking Reiki into the Royal Marsden Hospital, which I called a temple of healing as well. They were so amazing, the allopathic people. And my surgeon was a female, and she was amazing, and she believed in the power of prayer. And they had many holistic treatments there, and they treated me like a queen, and there was so much respect for the holistic way as well. And then Babaji said, get your passport ready for the States. And I was like, what? I got a chemo face, but I had a beautiful wig, and I looked absolutely stunning. And nobody knew I was ill. And my surgeon said, you're a superstar. I went on a wheelchair to teach in Scandinavia, after the chemo. So I was teaching throughout, and I was, even after being cut twice, I was walking around the ward, healing young women that were dying of cancer with their children there, That was not easy for me as a healer. They were like, Mrs. Khilnani, get back into bed. I was like, no way, people are dying around me. They need me right now. Mm-hmm. And so that's what was happening. So that was it. I went to the States, and in the last days of selling my beloved temple, where I taught Reiki Masters from across the globe, the book, The Divine Mother Speaks, started coming through me, and I literally was walking up and down between pack boxes. I called another REM, Reiki Energy Master. We did a little prayer, and then I walked up and down, and I just rattled out the book in 21 sessions, as I thought I was told. And then I became Leonard Orr's healer, and he's one of the fathers of the New Age and the father of rebirthing. So that was a big thing, and I was a teacher of rebirthing, but I said, I've come to sort out, and he said, my ego. I said, correct. And so we got him back on track, and then he introduced me across the globe as the Divine Mother Channel. People then started calling me a mystic and all other kinds of titles, and now they call me Guru and Avataric. But these are just titles that come from other people, and you just serve, and you keep serving. And then Robert Friedman, I literally landed up. He said, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? I said, Babaji has sent me to sort you out. And that was when the Leonard thing came to an end. So I was working on major spiritual leaders in the States to bring them back on track and get them moving. He said, I'm retiring soon, even though he was going to publish my book. And I found out, and I said, what? No, you're not. You're starting your new company. And he said, am I? And I said, that's right. And so none of them were easy students. I loved them, and they're my friends as well. But he did. And I was his first book that was published, though he said it was too esoteric. The Divine Mother Speaks, The Healing of the Human Heart, on Amazon, on iTunes. So then he asked me to channel a book on the Buddha, and I said, well, I don't do it to order. But then this voice started speaking to me in London. And then that happened. And then, of course, there was one being that I love more than anybody. I love them all. And that was Babaji. So I said, well, then that book started rattling out. So Bob said, every time you go back to London, because I was living in the States, but, I'm British. And he said, I'll just publish whichever book you channel next. And I was like, I've channeled 3, but I can channel 1 a day. But, all the work that goes into it's funny to edit channel books and all this. And then I was told that I would bring the spiritual leaders of America together to make a film for Unity Consciousness.
And boy, have you ever. I mean, it just about blew my mind when I realized that you were going from the highest esoteric teachers to a Baptist minister. I'm like, whoa, this is really covering the bases.
It was hard for me because I met Woody Allen in London, and I thought, I'm making the film with Woody. And we got 1 minute together in Petersham by the river. And I thought, oh, here we go. Because, you know, when I'm supposed to do something, I go through the back door. I become a Reiki master faster than all other new ages. Things just happen that are meant to happen because I'm, you know, probably avataric energy that's come for humanity now, like many of us. And so that didn't happen. And so when Bob said make the film with Neil Donald Walsh and I was quite reluctant, to tell you the truth. And so I said, I need to meet Neil. And anyway, then we went to his place in Oregon, and we had a 24-hour meeting, or at least it felt like that. And then I was like more interested in the more spiritual perspectives, and Neil kind of took up with me. But Bob and Jonathan, his son, who's a award-winning director, Cannes and Super Bowl, he made a $20 film and won $1 million for an ad film on Doritos. And they said, no, we have to bring in the religious perspectives. And this was Neil's film, and I would have made a film called I Goddess and more the power energies. And I don't know if I would have chosen, you know, the New York best-selling authors, Hay House and all this. You know, it would have been a very different film. But this was a way to bring all the spiritual leaders of America, which was my mission, which was a greater mission than just the film, you know. And so I agreed to be the angel seed investor. And luckily, the day I signed the check, Bob signed his check, which made it happen. Otherwise, you know, my money would have... And I sold the roof over my head to do this. And so it's really Neil's film, but I was behind the camera with Jonathan, asking the questions to the Marion Williamson, James Van Prague, Alan Cohen. And so another one of my jobs was to bring high silent frequency of heart energy, even for the leaders. And I'm just a channel, you know, but the messengers are not always...
Just a channel?
You know, the messengers are not always an embodiment of what...
Right, yeah.
Channel. You know, I think it's very important for our listeners to understand that we're all waking up to our avataric nature, but to just know a whole load of stuff, to just be super well versed in having read books and attended seminars and have titles such as Reiki Master, this, that, and the other, all the titles I've just rattled out, is not enough. What's really important is you could be a taxi driver, a fisherman, you could be a businessman, you could be Donald Trump. If you are embodying the energy of love, service, truth, simplicity, then you are in that zone. And otherwise, you can have all the money in the world, you can have all the spiritual titles in the world, you can have 10 million followers, as Leonard kept reminding me he has. And then he was talking about the mind some of the time, and he's 21 years older than me. And I was like, come and get your bottom smacked right now. It's not about the mind, ultimately. Yeah. It's about the heart. And
the heart, absolutely.
He has heart energy too, but, you know, in the West, the mind is not an easy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and it's funny because I have it in my face right now. My daughter, who is the reason why I actually moved to Florida from my home in the North Georgia mountains, she's dealing with cancer, and she
angels.
Yeah, she's a very fundamentalist Baptist. Wow. And so in order to have, you know, a better connection with her, I've been going with her to her church and, you know, and studying the things that she studies so that we have, you know, basis for conversation. And yesterday she chewed me a new one, you know, because she said that, you know, you call yourself an expert in this or an expert in that. And, you know, and none of your work is pointing to God. And I'm going, honey, all of my work points to God, you know, it's just, that's what your perspective is. So we sort of left on a touchy situation, but I think this is part of spirit getting me out of my head and into my heart so that I can do greater work, you know, on this planet.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we have to learn to speak the language that the person we're dealing with can understand. Because if I'm speaking to a scientist, I'll start talking in the quantum language. If I'm speaking to a born-again Christian, I will speak about Jesus, you know, and some of us, you know, understand how all the different energies come to the oneness. And maybe this film will help her because it really talks about so many perspectives, including hers, I think, is included, I'm pretty sure. You enjoyed the film, right, Jean?
Oh, absolutely.
So then she will begin to understand you better and herself as well, that we may speak different languages, but the top of the mountain is the same place. It's truth, simplicity, and love, and serving each other, loving each other, and so, sharing and supporting. Because the source energy, so-called God, I mean, I God, the name actually doesn't help with getting the film out there, because in the West particularly, God has become a bad word almost, or it's very fanatically used, so then the New Agers don't want to know. And so there are so many words, and too many people, including spiritual leaders now, are getting stuck on words. And I think it's important, you're a Hathor being, you understand that these are just different sounds. Words are sounds, and they're very powerful. But, to just say, oh, I changed the language, you've got to embody it. If you say you're going to show up for a meeting, and you talk about all kinds of highfalutin spiritual ideas, and you call yourself kind, but you don't show up and you waste somebody else's time like that, that's not spiritual, and this is not judgment I'm getting into. This is discernment. Right. We have to learn to love and respect. And so it's always in the action much more than a whole load of words.
Yeah.
No matter how.
The words are important because, like you said, they carry frequency, they carry sound. And it's, in the beginning was the word.
The action is more important.
Right.
As Satya Sai Baba said, he said, it is not the hand that prays that is as important as the hand that feeds others. If you made an appointment with somebody, you show up on time, or you show up as soon as you can. And meanwhile, if you promised a whole load of stuff, you make that happen. And if you don't make that happen, you can be as highfalutin as you like, or I can be, then I'm not spiritual. That's not spiritual. And spiritual doesn't exclude anything. It doesn't exclude finances. It doesn't exclude any area of life. It's all part of the same story, which is why the 3 books, I'm asking the Ascended Masters, Buddha and Shiva, questions about the now time, that in the time of Buddha, these were the teachings, but how do we deal with it in the current modern rat race? And that's why these books help to decode very eternal wisdom for the now time, and in the challenges that each human is facing in marrying their humanity with their divinity now, which is what heaven on earth and this 5D, multi-D quantum being existence is now about.
Absolutely. So now, is this movie available? How can people tap into this?
Thanks. Well, it's on igodthefilm.com. That's iGod, I-G-O-D, the film, all one word, .com. Neil Donald Walsh's website, my website, rashmikhilnani.com, rashmikhilnani.com. I'm sure you'll have it in the links. And it's available on iTunes and on Amazon. And so you can, watch it anywhere. And also on Beyond Words. So basically Amazon, everybody knows, and iTunes. And so it's very easily available. And
also, her books, Buddha Speaks, The Divine Mother Speaks, and Shiva Speaks as well. And those are on Amazon as well?
They're on Amazon, Kindle, Nook, BarnesandNoble.com, Waterstones.com, RainbowRidge.com, Square One Publishing.
You've covered all the bases.
They people want to translate them into different languages, and the people have asked me to do an audio version. But 3 books and a film. These have been major projects. And the last 9 years, I've been living in hotel caves, and I've done nonstop free radio shows. And every penny that I've had, I've actually spent everything I have to help wake up humanity. It's not like I'm earning any money the last 9 years. Before that, I was charging for Reiki and so on. And even now, there's a few people, if I'm teaching in modalities, because I teach 20 modalities of energy medicine, then sometimes I'm guided to charge. But otherwise, until my money runs out, that's the way it is. And so, yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. What a beautiful way to give back. And to keep that flow going, because I have to believe that you like me, are always provided for.
I hope so, because my mother left me a lot of money, and my brother and sister are fighting in court in India. They're twins. They both have a lot of money, and I'm reaching what seems to be like a tail end of money now. And meanwhile, I'm being told very much to continue in hotels. And this is usually in the center of London. I have 24 years. I've held the frequency of meditation, truth, simplicity, and love for the planet from London, Kensington, which in a sense is an epicenter for the planet, of the global village of the planet. And but each time I try and stay somewhere cheaper, or moved with students, or live somewhere else, or live in a center with, I get stopped, because it's about being the mystic, being the urban shaman, having the privacy, being able to do radio shows, and yet being in the center, which is not the same as having the mission of doing it out of Sedona or Manchester,
right?
Or even being the Dalai Lama, because this is, they're all challenging jobs, but this one's pretty overly challenging. You're dealing with that morphogenic transmutation for, and it's harder in London with 10 million than it is in New Delhi with 20 million.
Mm. Yeah.
Because the East is not going through as much turmoil, because now it's the time of change from East to West,
right.
from East again.
Exactly.
Because they have the spirituality there, in a sense, very deep.
So what do you see as far as what's next for all of us? I mean, we're waking up, we're going to wake up one way or another, how do you see that unfolding?
Do you feel the shifts? Do you feel that you're waking up? Because you're sounding very, 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 or do you feel that's the way you've always been since you were born?
Oh, no, I'm in constant change. And just like you said that, you ask to have it ratcheted up. Well, so I did the same thing and promptly tripped over a root, impaled my left eye on a stump, and was blinded.
Oh
so
my God,
here I am like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm better than I was.
Yeah, because I saw some of your shows and I thought, what's happened to your eye, And oh my God, but you're looking, I'll send angels for your daughter and for you.
Thank you. It's kind of, and I hearken back to all these busts that you see of Nefertiti. And I'm wondering, okay, what am I being shown here? Because this one has gone blank like hers.
Right.
And
is it totally blank?
Huh?
Is it totally blank?
On the most famous statues that you see of her.
No, yours.
Oh, no. I have a prosthesis, so it's painted to look like my other eye.
Mm.
Yeah, but I can't see out of it. I can detect light and dark, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because my eye was completely ruptured open, and the lens fell out, and they saved my life because I had half the forest in my head, so they were able to clean all that out, and I had no infection. I mean, it was so easy, and that I know that
like my mother, the servant in India killed my mother, and he hit her with a stone while she was sleeping in her bed, a grinding stone. And so he hit this eye, and so exactly the same thing, well, different, but the same. And we used to have a huge Nefertiti, something blinking on my screen.
Yeah, it's we're being told that we're running out of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but she also needed no plastic surgery, nothing, and it's probably saved her life as well. So you're going to be fine.
I sure am. But thank you so much, Rashmi, for being present with us today and sharing about your new movie and your work. The movie, listeners, is I, God, and you can go on Rashmi's website, which is rashmikhilnani.com, or Rainbow Ridge, or I, God, the movie.
iTunes, and Amazon and iTunes are the best places to get the books and the film.
Okay, perfect.
And I hope that we reconnect.
Absolutely.
Will this show also be on iTunes and other platforms?
It'll be all over YouTube, and it'll be on Facebook and newearthtelevision.com.
If you can connect with me on Facebook and also post on my wall with the YouTube show and all, then I can share it multiple times.
Perfect. I will do so.
Thank you so much, and so many blessings to all our listeners for this wake up time, to stay grounded and keep their hearts open.
And the next week, join me, listeners. My guest is going to be the amazing Lynn Andrews, the author of Medicine Woman. She's got a new deck of sacred oracle cards that she will introduce us to next week. So until then, remember, people who take responsibility for their lives create the reality they desire. Ciao.
Namaste.